So I'm going to give you a garden tour today. But you want to stick around till the very end because my husband has a story that he would like to tell you all. Good morning. Yeah, you can go ahead and let out. Say good morning. Good morning. Esther, our baby goat, will be 4 weeks old on Saturday. And last night we decided to go ahead and separate her from her mom just to see how much more milk we would get, because we've only been getting about a half a cup to a cup every milking. Granted, I really don't know what I'm doing, and neither does she, because she's a first-time mom. A first freshener is the technical term. We are going to start separating the baby because she's old enough to, at nighttime, we've put her in a kennel in the barn with her mom, and then this morning we took Greta out only to milk her and feed her. She's still not totally comfortable on the milking stand. Eating, she's not relaxing like I would like for her to, but that'll come with time as she gets used to it and we get used to it. But this morning we were able to get 3 times the amount of milk that we have been getting, so that was really exciting. A mom will always hold back milk for her baby. A cow will always hold back milk for her baby, and so will a goat, and I'm sure sheep and all the other milking animals do the same thing. And so when we let her down and Esther was able to eat, there was still plenty of milk in there. I could even feel that there was milk in there, but I wasn't going to spend the time to try to milk her completely out at this point because the baby needs milk and because she's still growing. But it's a neat experience, the goat's milk. We really enjoy it. I get about enough goat's milk right now for us to be able to put it in our coffee, and that's great. Y'all digging the bald head? My kids say that I look great with a bald head. I would like my hair, but I'm kind of glad that I don't have hair currently. Having one more thing to deal with when I don't feel like getting up off of the bed or out of the bed is kind of nice, to be honest. Not having hair is a little bit freeing. Not in a super feminist way, it's just freeing to not have hair. I also understand now why the buzz cut is super popular among boys in the South, because it feels good, and this humidity that we have going on is really rough. So it's pretty smart if you see boys and men running around with a buzz cut or even no hair at this point in time. It's nice and cooling. I would like to take you all around my garden this morning to show you what's going on, and because I'm pretty excited about it. It's not what I had envisioned for this year, but I also didn't envision getting cancer this year. I didn't envision a coronavirus, all these other crazy things going on, and or murder hornets. I mean, where did they go? I'm going into my 3rd round of chemo today, actually, and it's been rough. I won't lie. I went from being completely capable of doing anything to being incapable of even getting my head up off of the pillow. First round of chemo started, it hit me Sunday afternoon. So I get my chemos on Wednesday. So that Sunday afternoon, the full force of everything kind of hit. And I basically felt like I was dying until Tuesday morning. It was rough. I knew I wasn't dying. Imagine the flu, like the worst one you've ever had, and magnify that. And if you've ever had mono, imagine the fatigue from that and magnify it. And that's basically what I've felt like. I've had both of those, so I can speak from experience on that one. It didn't last long. I knew that I could get through it. The doctor had promised me by Wednesday I would start feeling better, so I was holding on to that, and I did. Wednesday, I felt like a brand new person. I woke up, I was able to get a cup of coffee. I got some medication in me, then when I say medication, I have nausea meds, Zofran, Phenigrin, and my pain meds is Tylenol. It works for me because I don't take medication, period. Well, now I do, but before I didn't take any sort of medication at all. I suffer through a lot, but I'm not suffering through here. I'm taking my meds like I need to. But that was something I didn't want to experience again. But having a week where on Wednesday I kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger every day, that helped a lot. The day before my 2nd round of chemo, we were able to process 26 chickens. We had help with that, and that was great. It was my best day. The fatigue was still there. I just did what I needed to do, took a break, did what I needed to do, took a break, made sure that I got plenty of rest. Going into the 2nd round of chemo, I was a little nervous because my blood work the week before was really bad for me, not unexpected for what I was going through, but for me, you know, my white blood cell count was really low, basically non-existent, expected. My platelets were low. My liver and my kidneys were still functioning fine, which is really, really good. I wasn't really worried about them, not right now at least. And so, but my blood work came back, and it was super awesome. My nurses were totally cheering me on there. They were really very impressed with how good it was. And everything was within normal range for a normal person. And so I was very, very excited. So that kind of gave me a little or like a jolt of like energy to go into the 2nd round of chemo, going, all right, I'm halfway finished. I'm halfway finished with these 2 really bad drugs. And so I made it through. And then the chemo hit Saturday, so it hit me a day earlier. I know that with each round, my body's getting weaker. It's the process that I'm going through. And so the 2nd round hit, so Saturday hit, and I basically stayed on the couch. I didn't feel like I was dying this time around, which was good. He did give me let me take my steroids for 7 days instead of 3 days. I don't know that it really helped, because my nausea was really bad this time around. And the steroids give me really bad heartburn, so I think it all kind of played into each other this time. And but I could stay on top of my pain, and so that was good. That helped a whole heck of a lot. But I still stayed in the bed for 4 days. Actually on the couch. So, you know, it is what it is. The doctor said that he could give me a different type of nausea meds if I wanted to. It was something that they give to schizophrenics, and I said, no, thank you. I'll suffer through. It's not that big of a deal. I can manage that. So we're gonna go back down to the 3 days for the steroids just because of the heartburn, and we didn't think that it did anything productive for me to get through the weekend. And that's okay. It's totally fine. I did find that lemon balm tea helps with acid reflux and heartburn. So I'm going to be drinking a lot of that this time around, and that should help with nausea also. But I won't lie to say that going into this 3rd round of chemo is going to be an easy one for me to get through. I don't want to do this again. I can already taste it going into my mouth. I can feel the nausea. I can feel the pain, and that makes me super nervous. I know it's necessary. It's working. The tumor is super small, so that's a plus for, going into this. I have had a few really good days, so that helps mentally to go into this, but this is a mental mountain that's going to be really hard for me to get over today. I'll do it, obviously, but I really don't want to. When I think about my appointment today, I get really shaky and my stomach flips, and it's just not something I want to experience again. I do have 2 more, but this is going to be my hill that I'm having to get up, and I'm not looking forward to it at all. I don't know who looks forward to chemo, to be honest with you, but it's hard. I am promised that this next drug is going to be a lot easier on my body, so I'm holding on to that, and I'm holding on to, this is round number 3. I have 1 more after today, 1 more, and that's a good thing to kind of hold on to. You have to hold on to the little pieces of hope that you can, because to be completely honest, I don't want to go into today because it's hard. This year we did vertical gardening on these arches, and this is my favorite thing we've done this year so far. It makes it really easy to harvest stuff. So we have these purple potted pole beans, and if you look down here, we have a few that are ready. So the cool thing about these is when you cook them, they turn green, and they are very delicious. Baker Creek said that they were one of their best tasting beans, and I would agree with that. I love green beans, and the 4th of July we were able to pick so many that we had a full meal off of them. But each one of these little blossoms is going to produce a bean, so you can see how prolific they are. And if you want to plant beans now, you can go for it. You can plant beans in August also and still be able to get a harvest off of them. So we may plant some more of these on some of the other trellises so we can get some more. A specific type of cucumber this year, it has a male and female flower on it. Or actually, sorry, the flower is male and female, so it does not need to be pollinated like your traditional varieties of cucumbers do. The reason that we did that is because our town sprays for mosquitoes, and every time they spray, it kills the bees that are pollinating my fruit. I don't have time to come out and hand pollinate all of the cucumbers, so my husband found a variety that Each blossom will produce a cucumber. And yes, this is very prolific. They make great little pickling cucumbers. You can see these are ready to harvest. The problem is this year is that our dogs like them, and so they try to get to them before we can, and that's been an issue. The cucumbers, we have okra. It's a whole heck of a lot of okra. The intention was to pickle it and sell it at the farmers markets, but I'm no longer doing the farmers markets, so I would not have planted this much okra. And honestly, if I had to do it again, this whole row right here, I would not have planted. I would have just planted these 2 rows, so that way I could get in here and harvest the cucumber, or not cucumbers, the okra easier. Next year, what I'm thinking about doing is, because my beds are so large and okra is so large, is planting the okra in the middle of each bed and then planting stuff on either side. That way it makes it easier to harvest. But this is well, okra is new to me in general. I don't like to eat okra, but my husband does. I do like pickled okra, so that's good. But okra, this is I forget what this is called, but it's a long potted okra. So it gets relatively long and thin. The one I did last year I really liked. It's called an Alabama Red. It was easy to see. Okra flowers themselves, if you look over here, are absolutely gorgeous. So you see there, aren't they beautiful? Here, get in there a little bit more. Sure, there we go. Yeah, it's really pretty. But we're getting ready to the okra's getting ready to just basically explode. I've harvested a little bit off of it, but not that much. But yeah, it's getting ready to explode. So leafy greens are really, really good for you. However, I can't stomach leafy greens right now. It makes me want to vomit, to be honest. But Swiss chard's really, really good in this area. It holds up pretty decently to the heat. You can tell we've got something chomping on it, and that's okay. But we like to come in, and the goats love it, so we can, and the rabbits love it, so we can harvest from it and feed it to the chickens and goats and the rabbits. And then my lettuce has bolted. This year I planted 2 rows. All right, so our beds are 6 feet long, and then, or 6 feet wide and 12 feet long. I planted 2 rows of this leaf lettuce, thinking that maybe it wasn't going to be enough for us, but it was plenty for our family. We could come out here and just harvest from it, and it's one of those things, the more you harvest, the more it grows, and it's really good because you can thin it out and allow for it to get bigger. And again, at this moment, leafy greens make me want to vomit, and so I don't eat as much, and I think because I'm not the one that's really cooking right now, my kids aren't eating as much, neither is my husband. But so you can tell that it's bolted, which is fine. It's actually really pretty bolted, and I'm kind of just leaving it there.
They look like miniature Christmas trees.
They do look like miniature, from a Dr. Seuss book, really. Yeah. I mean, look at that. Over here, you can see a couple of Swiss chard that are coming up. Some of them never even germinated, and that's not normal. Swiss chard's really good from about doing that. But I had this spinach this Japanese spinach over here, and it was done very quickly. As soon as it got hot, it was done. But it's probably one of my most favorite things that I've grown. I'm gonna sow some more seeds over here in August. And then here's our corn. Our corn has done really well. How many ears did we get off of? We got a lot of ears off
14.
14 ears off of our corn the other day, and we still have some that are getting ready to be done. This one's probably done right now. All right, so we have all these sunflowers growing, and I'm gonna let them all go to seed. The cool thing here, show this a little bit. So the cool thing about this is right underneath here, Look, there's all the sunflower seeds. You can harvest them. Usually we'll probably just let them dry out a little bit, and then we'll feed them to the chickens and the goats and the rabbits. This will be really good. But this was really beautiful just a couple of days ago, but sunflowers are done. So our yard slopes just a little bit, and I planted the watermelon down here at the bottom of the hill because watermelons need a lot of water, hence the name watermelon. So I figured as we get rainwater or we water the garden, any excess water will come down here and help with the growth of the watermelon. The watermelon that I planted this year is called a strawberry watermelon. And again, those are from Baker Creek. And they have supposedly one of the best tasting watermelons out there. So we'll see how it grows, how prolific it is. I've planted 16 plants. The ducks ate some of them. The ducks moved some of my seeds around. But it looks like I've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plants coming up. So we'll see how much we get out of that. And then here are my blueberries that the goats got all the buds off of. So I knew I wouldn't get any blueberries this year. We've got one growing right there. I have the varieties that I have are called an Austin blueberry, and then there's a Premier blueberry. The ducks got in here and they moved around a whole lot of seeds. So I was supposed to have a lot of different flowers growing in this area this year, but it looks like most of the seeds got moved around over here because you can see all of the zinnias. All the zinnias surrounding the blueberries right in this area. There's sunflower. Yeah, and a random sunflower that gets pooped out. And then I have daylilies. These are native daylilies that a friend gave to me. All right, and I planted if you follow me on Instagram, you're gonna know that I planted a whole lot of things late. And what I did is I planted tomatoes, and I have some peppers in these 3 front beds. Tomatoes are just now starting to come up. This is a pasting tomato here that I've got growing, so the intention is to can it. Whether I get a harvest off of it or not, that we'll see about that. And then this monstrosity here is my butternut squash. When I ordered seeds, there were only 2 varieties of butternut squash available to order. And this one right here is supposed to be very prolific, which it is. And it has, it's supposed to be disease and pest resistant. And it said that it could be trellised too. However, I will say this, next year I will not be trellising the butternut squash. I'm gonna grow this in a completely different space. But this whole thing right here is 2 plants. A lot. You can see how much space it takes up. You can see, I mean, we've got butternut squash everywhere. So it's all over the place. And it's still coming up. I mean, the best one, I got a big one growing right there. It's pretty awesome. I can't wait for it to be done and ready to pick. And these store really well for winter. Oh. I got some squash bug seeds. So I'm really proud of the butternut squash because that's something super fun that I haven't grown before. But I'm really, really proud of my carrots. I've always picked my carrots and thinking that they're weeds. And so this year I let this bed get a little bit weedy where the carrots are. And I'm growing carrots. So I'm pretty excited about it. They're not ready yet. I thinned them out not too long ago so that these guys can get a little bit better. or bigger, I should say. And I'm gonna plant here some more carrots in August. The cool thing about, and again, timing has been really perfect for us. I'm gonna move to a different chemo in August, and in this area I can plant a whole heck of a lot more stuff for fall in the month of August. So I'll have a little bit of energy to start some seeds and do some more planting. So I'm really excited about August, because it's gonna be like a whole other spring time for me, so I can plant more stuff. We had to dig up our plum trees and save them because they were dying. And so I have 2 of them that have come back to life. The third one, it looks like we're getting a plum at the base of it. So not positive that that's a plum. My husband thinks it is. The leaves are very similar to what we should be getting there, but we'll see. Time will tell on that one. But these guys have come back, and so we'll replant these in a different part of our yard. But I was very excited to save them. To be able to, the resilience of plants is pretty amazing. Our herb garden, this is my oldest, her thing. And so we have elephant ears in the back because I think they're pretty. And then she's got all sorts of herbs. We've got pineapple sage here, which is one of my favorites. We've got a yarrow in the back. We've got basil in the back. My mulberry bushes, I had to dig them up also because they were getting eaten. The roots were getting eaten by voles. I dug them up, put them in pots, and they've come back to life, which is great.
They're actually doing better.
They're doing better. I haven't decided where I'm going to put them permanently yet, but I needed to rehab them first. We've got, this is called an herb called savory. It looks, yeah, it looks a lot like rosemary, but it's called savory. I don't know what it tastes like. I haven't really cooked with it. We've got some, yeah, we got basil going. We have an Italian large leaf basil going. It looks like she's got echinacea that she's planted back in there.
Tastes like a spicy oregano.
Really? That's cool. Then we've got parsley growing. This is her favorite. This is lemon balm. And this is what I make my teas out of. And then we've got more pineapple sage, which is really good. If you ever want to make a really good jam, pineapple sage and blackberries make a really, really good combination. If you make kombucha, it's also one of my most favorite combinations of jams. So we have pears growing. I didn't expect to have pears this year at all.
But we have some.
But we've got pears growing. Super excited about it. Which is my peach trees. They definitely leaned this year. Ooh! But we harvested some because the branches fell off.
Let me go over here.
And they, I don't know. I haven't decided what I want to do. If I want to keep my peach trees or replace them with something else. But they're not doing so hot. It's really hard to do peaches without pesticides, fungicides, things like that. So I'm trying to decide how much I want to manage that organically and how much work I want to put into it, or do I want to replace them with trees that are more suited for this environment. This was my onion patch underneath it.
Is the key word there.
Some of them have done really good, some of them not so much. That's it is what it is. It's better than it was last year, so we're gonna go with that. I mean, not everything's gonna ever be perfect, but I did improve upon what I did last year. I got 1 onion last year. It looks like I'm gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Better than last year. We also have been planting, we planted hops. If you can see right there. But the intention of the hops is to trellis over the chicken run. Hops need, the first year they're trying to get established, they need tons of water. And we just have not gotten tons of water. And to, you know, it can be difficult. We do have plans of having rain catchment systems throughout the yard. We just haven't gotten there yet. and that will help with what we need, like when it's drier, because we've had a drier spring this year. So a lot of things that should have come up earlier have been late to come up, and that's okay. You just kind of have to work with it sometimes. And then this is my not great part of my yard. And it just is what it is. I'm not gonna worry about it at all. And then right here, my brother gave me some prickly pear. This stuff is doing fantastic. Along with a few weeds. Right, you can kind of see the Mexican sunflowers the way that they are right now. They may get tall, they may not, I don't know. It's been a really weird, it was a really weird spring. It was nowhere near what it should have been as far as rain goes. I also have ground cherries down here, and these ground cherries have not grown at all. So I have more seeds. I'll start again next year. That's something new for me. And then we have our blackberry bush. This is our oldest blackberry bush. It's probably year three. Mm-hmm. It's a thornless variety, and it is ever-bearing. We got so many blackberries off of it this year. Thanks to our cat for making sure all the birds stay away from our yard. We've been able to have a lot of blackberries. My dream is to have most of this whole fence line be blackberries. That'll be really nice.
That's my dream.
Yeah, also, yeah. And you know, we could do something like I could like make the kids not eat them like they are, and harvest them and do jams or some sort of thing out of a blackberry. But honestly, I really like having just the fruit outside so that the kids can come out and pick it and eat it. And if you ever like watch YouTube, or look on Instagram, things like that, even Facebook, you're gonna see a lot of successes, and people are it's really easy to crop out, edit out your failures, but just so you all feel a little bit better. This is my strawberry bed. We did get some strawberries off of this, but it really needs to be weeded desperately. I haven't had the energy to do it. I probably will at some point in time come out here, or the kids will. The kids are really good. Many hands make light work, so it's always good to have helpers when it comes to that. But this is really good. I'm gonna just let all the strawberries vine out this year and fill in this whole space, and I'll cover them up really good when winter hits. And then next year, this whole patch will be producing a lot of strawberries. And then we're gonna have another strawberry patch on our property, or in our backyard, at some point in time, probably next to the greenhouse is the plan. All of this over here, these are all new beds. And your new beds, your first year, are never gonna be your good beds. I would plant things that grow well in poor soil if you're gonna do a new bed and not add a lot of stuff to it. This is garden mix and compost, but over winter time I'll be cleaning out all of the rabbit hutches, the goat barn, the chicken run, the chicken coop, and I'm just going to add all of that stuff over there to those things. I'm also going to be adding some mushroom compost to this area to see what that does, and just to enrich the soil so that way next spring when I go in to plant here, it will do better. So that's pretty much my garden tour. The garden is perfect size for me this year. It's exactly what I need, and I'll have a fresh start come August to plant some things that we really, really like. Our family really likes root vegetables and cole crops. Those are our favorites to eat. So fall is going to be really fun for us to restart again And again, I should feel better in August, being on a different medication. So it will allow me to kind of start over, and the things that I didn't get to get done this spring because of all the testing and just the rapid movement from going from finding a lump to being diagnosed with cancer. It just took a lot out of us mentally to try to get through and do the things that we had envisioned doing in our backyard. And that's okay. I've learned to let that go. It's not that big a deal. I did have some bugs take out a couple of crops, and I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. And, thankfully we live in a time where I'm not dependent upon this for survival. This is more therapy for me than it is anything else. To be able to grow food and know that it's organic food is just, there's a therapeuticness to it that I don't get anywhere else. So, but you know what, if it fails, it's okay. You try again next year, or even in the fall. If it's a vegetable that you can grow in the fall, do that and just shake it off, learn from it, and it's okay. And I've learned to let my expectations of myself go and give myself a lot of grace during this time. And in all honesty, I'm probably the least stressed person in my family at this moment. But thank you all for sticking around and watching. Thank you all for the prayers and messages that I've gotten. They mean a lot to me, just to know that I've been thought about and prayed for. All of this is a rather humbling experience for us.
Hey guys, so wanted to give you an update on my part. I have not been doing so great with my gut issues. Been in an active flare-up for the past couple of weeks. Definitely stress-induced. Good reasons why. So I went and saw the doctor, and the doctor was like, well, I think we need to go ahead and do a colonoscopy to check things out, see how things are going, which is no big deal. I have a punch card. I think I get my next one free is what goes on. But so I decided that I was gonna have some fun with this colonoscopy. So prior to going in, I went and I purchased a pack of gummy worms. And I went ahead and pulled out the brightest one because I was concerned about possibly, if I didn't pick out a bright one, it going negative. And I'll get into that in a second. And so what I ended up doing was right before they wheeled me back to go do the colonoscopy, because by this time you're stripped down and then you got your fun little robe that's just open to the back and you're laying on your back, but then when they move you in the room, they put you on your side. So just before they rolled me back, and I did ask the nurse for timing because I was worried about a long time going between putting the gummy worm in between my butt cheeks and rolling back being too long and the gummy worm melting. So I asked the nurse just to let me know time frame. So I stuck this gummy worm in there, and it was a Bryce gummy worm, so that way the doctor would definitely see it and not, ram it up into me. And so it was great. I was sitting there and got back in the room. It's in place. The nurse is sitting there. You could just tell she knows what's up, so she's trying not to laugh. The doctor, he's in the full face shield, and looks like, he's about ready to face the outbreak monkey. And so I'm looking at him, I'm going, man, I hope you don't need that. And he goes, oh, I hope I don't need it also. And then I'm doing my normal corny jokes, asking them about the IV, if this is, Roman healthcare nurses or healthcare workers in Rome, do they call it an IV or do they simply refer to it as 4? And the anesthesiologist is just, at this point, she's really getting a little frustrated because she's already gone one vial into me and I should already be asleep, but I'm still up there and chatting away. So she's putting more anesthesia into me, trying to knock me out. And so the doctor, you could tell he's getting awkward because he's going, okay, this guy should be asleep by now. I've had so many and stuff. I'm a little hard to put down, the best way to say it. So I got the gummy worm in there. The doctor, I have him rolling on just a bunch of dad jokes going. And they put the second vial in me, and I could feel, okay, I'm about to pass out. So I go and I looked at the doctor, and I was like, oh, hey, doc. And bonus points if you find the Lego figurine. He's like, what? And I pass out. As I'm coming to, I can just hear the entire doctor office just like in the back. People just laugh and dying. So word gotten around of what I had done, and he came to me and he was like, yeah, that was definitely not expected. He goes, definitely you're a character. This is a new doctor. This is something I'd been wanting to do to my old doctor for a while. This was the second time meeting this new doctor, so he had no idea that I would even try to play a prank like that on there. But that is, I guess, the most elaborate that he's seen. He says people have written before, you know, with markers and stuff on their rear end, but never gone so far as to put a gummy worm there. I told him he could have done better on his part, you know, maybe come out to tell me my results while eating a gummy worm that he'd bought out of a snack machine. Yeah, so that was a fun thing. Sarah was very happy that I had a friend take me to that one, so she was not there for that, so she could not be associated with me. But in all, that was a fun. Definitely, I encourage everybody, you know, to definitely think about you know, messing with your doctors more. I think it's good for them. Alrighty, guys.